Hello again, everyone. I am Big Red One with Gamers Armada, and I'm here to give you our latest review on Dark Souls from Software. For those of you who play Demon Souls, it's very important to note that this game is a spiritual successor, not a direct sequel to that game. This is very important because people might expect the exact same thing, and unfortunately, while it's similar, it's definitely not. There's a lot of good new stuff in this game, new weapons, new armor, but more importantly, new creatures, new bosses, and a whole new way to kill yourself. Now, some of you might be asking yourself why this game is not a direct sequel to Demon Souls, and the answer to that question is actually very simple. That's because From Software decided that game was too easy. They wanted to push the limits of your mind well beyond its breaking point. They wanted you to give your shrink nightmares about all the crap you had to go through trying to beat this game. That's what they were going for. And honestly, I think they did fairly well at getting that aim accomplished. In my opinion, there are really only three ways that this game differentiates itself from Demon Souls, though. The first of which is being the use of the bonfires. These are the places where you will go to heal yourselves and to rest and to save your games and to give a relatively safe spot to your character so he doesn't die. Problem is, every time you go to one of these bonfires and you rest at them, you respawn every enemy in the game, which used to only happen when you died. Now, when you heal yourself and rest, it happens again. So the game makes it that much more difficult for you to get through because you can't heal yourself or refill your ability to heal yourself without respawning everybody in the game. The other big differentiator, which I feel is important, is the lack of magic use in this game compared to Demon Souls. In Dark Souls, your magic is very limited. You get a certain spell that you get to put in a slot, and it only has so many uses. 30, 15, 10, doesn't matter. Once you're out of those uses, you honestly have no ability to replenish them until you get to a bonfire, which, as I just mentioned, respawns every enemy in the game, which really makes you decide how you want to use that magic. It's very strategic, and I think it's a key differentiator that a lot of people maybe don't realize is changing the game for them. The last big way that this game differentiates itself from Demon Souls is through the use of the Estus Flask. The Estus Flask is an item that you get in the beginning of the game, and it's what allows you to refill your ability to heal. When it's filled, the Estus Flask heals you for a good chunk of your health, and as you go through the game, you'll have the ability to upgrade the flask so that it can contain more heals and actually heal you for more damage. This is very important because the Estus Flask, again, has to be refilled. You can't find more of it while going through the world and killing the monsters. You have to get back to a bonfire and you have to refill it. Ultimately, this is important because if you run out of Estus, you're going to die. Another interesting aspect of this game is humanity. It's not a big game changer, but it's an interesting quirk in this game. Humanity is what makes you human, and to be human, you need humanity. I know that sounds kind of cyclical, but it's important. If you're human, you can summon other people to help you in the game if you're in a tight spot. If you're not human, you're just stuck. Also, in order to be summoned to help other people, you need to be human. Interesting, because when you come to the boss fights, you want to help other people. It's an easy way to gain humanity as well as an extra bit of soul. The other thing about humanity is that it allows you to find more items. The more humanity points you have, the greater chance you have of finding an item on a fallen enemy. This is important if you're looking for rare drops. You only get it if you have the humanity. Of course, there are other mechanics to talk about in the game, like the combat, but like the combat, all the other mechanics in this game are essentially the same as they were in Demon Souls, even the multiplayer. Of course, it is a little different in the multiplayer because you can't invade people as easily, and it's actually highly discouraged in this game, whereas in the first game, it was actually quite common and very annoying. This game, you'll actually get through most of it without having somebody invade you. I personally would have liked to see some innovation in the combat and some other aspects of the game, but From Software decided to go ahead and change the fundamentals of the game in such a way that they actually didn't need to change the combat and the magic. They just kind of did what they did, and honestly, it works. Of course, the biggest negative thing to say about this game is really the only negative thing to say about this game, and that is that the game is just so difficult. Of course, that's not necessarily a bad thing for a lot of players, but for most people, most humans, it is very tough to get through. I can't count how many times in the game that I put my controller down and said, I'm done, I don't want to play it anymore, and if I make a review about this game, it's going to be nothing but negative things. In the end, I've decided to pick up the controller every time and get back into the game for one big reason. It's only because I'm human that the game is difficult. Ultimately, this game requires you to be patient, and it requires you to keep a cap on your irrational and impulsive side. And the thing about that is that that's very difficult for people to do, and me especially being an impulsive person, It took a lot of restraint, and I'm not sure I have enough restraint in me to ever get through this game again, but I would certainly try it again. That's my personal opinion. It was worth it. For you guys, though, you really have to ask yourself whether or not this is a game for you. If you can't not break a controller when you're playing a game and things aren't going your way, you probably shouldn't get this game. But overall, if you can find a way to keep a lid on your frustration and anger and not hurt people in your household or yourself playing this game, I'm going to recommend you pick it up because it's something special and I really think you're going to like it.